nervous system, which is centered around the hollow nerve cord on the dorsal side of the animal's body, just above the notochord. It's a simple nervous system, no complex brain present, just a small part of the brain of the nerve tube is more specialized in receiving all the signals and processing the information. And the nerve cord basically runs along the length of the body from head to the tail, and the spinal nerves roots out from this nerve cord. So what does it mean? Let me see if I have a diagram somewhere. Right, if you see here, this is the nerve cord, the blue one. So this is the nervous system, and the spinal nerves, the root out from from this nerve cord to the each segment of the muscles. Okay, we know that these muscles are present in the segments as the myomers, myotomes. So these each segment needs a command from the nervous system to contract or relax when required. So for that, there are the small nerves that originate from the nerve cords directly and goes into the each segment of the muscles. So they basically plan the movement of the animal's body and by providing a wave-like contraction of the each muscle segment, so by the help of which the animal can swim within the water. If we talk about the sensory organs in the animals, they are not highly specialized and they are very simple and present in the form of an unpaired or a single ocellus or the eye spot that functions as a photoreceptor. So they can sense the intensity of the light but cannot create images for the further processing. So these animals are still simpler in their structure and in their functions. The anterior end is somewhat specialized to perform the processing and decision making, but they are not enlarged, and we can think them as a homologous to the animal brain. Right, so this is start of the brain here. So finally, lastly, there is not lastly, the next one is the excretory system of the animal's body. So the excretion basically happens by the specialized cells or specialized tissues that is called nephridia. In nephridia, there are about 70 pairs of the nephridia in the Amphioxus. They are present in the pharyngeal region, right? You remember that pharyngeal basket and pharyngeal slits and pharyngeal bars. So these bars that's the pharyngeal bar, right? And this is the pharyngeal slit, this open area from where the water is passing out, and these nephridia are present in on these pharyngeal bars, gill bars. Nephridia are the bent tube-like structures that have many flame cells. These are the flame cells. Okay, ji? The function of the flame cell is to filter out the waste material from the blood and from the body cavity, and then they filtrate is released into the empty cavity, and then within that pharyngeal region in that water through a hole. Right, this hole is called excretory pore or nephridiopore. Nephridiopore. So this hole is the nephridiopore, and result happens that this all waste material along with the water circulating through the body gets into the atrium and moves out through the atriopore. All right. Finally, the reproductive system. We know that the animals are dioecious, so there is no separate genders for the animals. So each animal has two types of the gonads, both male and female type of the gonads are present just beneath the alimentary canal, behind the pharyngeal slits. These blue structures you see here in this figure, right? So the function is that they produce the gametes and release them in the empty cavity of the body, the atrium, and once the water passes, it takes the uh, gametes along them and moves out of the body through atriopore, and fertilization happens. The larva is free swimming just like the adults, and then settles down, finds a substrate and stays there until they become sexually matured, right? And larva looks similar to the adult. So that was all about the phylum Cephalochordata. So we have seen the general structure of the animal body, and we have seen the major body systems in Amphioxus.